Okay. So last time, I think our main focus was on signpost words. Now, who can illustrate this concept to us? What is meant by signpost words, and why do you think they are important when listening to someone talking?
I will say
Yeah, go ahead.
signpost while the recording is played. They mentioned signpost to say the opposite. For example, sometimes they said but or something to say the answer. They change the answer, so we need to be focused when they saying signpost to know the answer.
Yeah, okay. That's a good answer. Now, imagine
على
you're
قد
taking,
الحال.
yes, good. Now, imagine you're taking a journey through a forest, but there are no clear paths. So you're alone in a forest and there are no clear paths. Now, you're not sure where to go. And suddenly you spot signs along the way that guide you. So these signs will tell you which direction to take, where to turn, and how far you are from your destination. Now, these signs make your journey easier, right? Is it right or not?
Right.
Okay, cool. Now, when you think of listening to someone, so talk like that journey. That's what you need to do. When someone is speaking, so they are, like a guide leading you through their thoughts and ideas. But sometimes, their words can be a bit like that forest without paths. You might get lost or confused. And that's where signpost word come in handy. You should think of signpost words, like the signs in the forest. Uh, they give you hints about what's coming next. And that's what we did, as far as I remember, in the last exercise. Uh, now, the speaker is going, where the speaker is going, and how the different parts of, their talk are connected, uh, just like road signs that will help you navigate the journey. Now, these signpost words help you follow the speaker's message. So as Khawla has mentioned, when someone, for example, says first, next, or in addition, now those are signpost words, and they are like arrows showing you the order of things. Okay, so we say first, well, I think that was number 5. It is, I think, the stages of a talk. And when you hear, for example, on the other hand, however, or by contrast, in contrast, now those words are telling you that a different idea is coming up. Now, think of these signpost words as a roadmap for your ears. Now, it's like having a guide giving you directions so you don't get lost while listening. Now, this way you can understand the speaker's message better and not miss out on important points. So when you're listening to someone, pay attention to these signpost words. And because they will help you stay on track and understand where the conversation is going. Just like those, signs in the forest, they'll make your listening journey much smoother. Now, this is all about signposting, and they are very important, guys. Okay, so especially when you're doing section number 4, because it will be a talk. There's only one person talking about a topic, and you have to pay attention to these signpost words so that you can navigate easily through their talk. Okay, so this lesson, it builds on the previous lesson, and we're going to here listen to some talks, or a kind of a mini lecture, and try to answer the questions. So number 1, it will be this one: complete the notes. We have some notes here to complete. Write no more than 2 words and or a number for each answer. I think we have already talked about this before, and I told you how we can approach this type of questions Now here we have a lecture. So the lecture has 3 points. Now the origins of chess, chess now, and Capablanca. Now these are the 3 main points in the lecture that the person or the professor is going to talk about. Now, the first thing we need to do, guys, is to decide on the type of word that I need to use. That's very important. So, because what will they do exactly? So, they will give you some time to read the questions and before you listen. Okay. So, for example, the narrator would say, well, read the questions 1 to 6, or you have some time to read the questions 1 to 6. Okay, that's what will they do. Now, number one, here it's already been done for you. So the type of word. So we need a country. Some say game began in Afghanistan, and well, we need the name of a country. Number two, reached by. What do you think we need here?
Day, a day of a years.
Yeah, it could be an agent, like a person, agent. Okay, or it could be, time. It means before that time or at that time. Okay, so it could be a person or reached Europe by, could be people and it could be time. Okay, so you have to be flexible in your thinking. So it's either time or people. I would say agent, not means people. Okay. And number three, variations played in Japan. And what do we need?
Country.
Again, country.
Yeah, so we need the name of a country. So it's what we say, a country or name, whatever. Okay, cool. And here, when you have to write the name of a country, what should you think of?
Cap
Yeah, capitalization. It's very important. If you do not capitalize the country, you will get 0. Great. And chess now. This is the second part of the lecture, chess now. Today's, and here we need a noun because here we have the genitive case. This is the possessive case. So we need a noun. Today's what? Named after English chess master. And they took the name of. Okay, so they were named after. What do you think they are? What do we need? We need a noun. We need a noun. Okay, and first in 1866. First what?
Game.
competition.
Yeah, maybe competition, maybe game. Okay, so we need a noun. We need a noun. Yes, so it could be, as you said, maybe competition. Okay, maybe game. So here we're trying to make some predictions. And Capablanca, well, this is a player, chess player. Lasca played Capablanca in 1921. Capablanca considered among, well, this is a mistake. So it's among with no U here. So among the top, yes, among the top names, what do you think we need?
No,
Noun or number?
number. Top
Yeah,
5.
yeah, we say top
Top
5, top 10. Yes, okay, so we need the number. Okay, good. Okay, great. Okay, now once we have predicted, okay, the type of words, so what are we going to do? We're going to listen and try to fill in the blanks, okay? So I will play the first part of the recording, so from 1 up to 3, and then we're going to proceed with the other examples or with the other notes. Let me reach out for the listening folder. You know where I put them. Okay, just hang on that. And this is okay. IELTS. Guys, what track is this? The track. The number of track, is it mentioned? No. Okay, now this is track 32. Great. 32. Oh, that's not 32. Okay, I need to share the sound. Share sound. There we go.
Track 32. John Getnick is with us in the studio tonight to talk about the origins of the game chess. Welcome, John.
Thank you. I'm sure you're all familiar with the wonderful game of chess, but have you ever stopped to think where it came from and when? Well, we believe the game dates back to before AD 600 and was first played in either Afghanistan or what is now northern India. The oldest written references that we have to chess date from then, but there are claims that chess existed earlier than this. We think the version played by Europeans and Americans today travelled through Iran to the main commercial centres of Europe by the year 1000. The game was then taken to Scandinavia by the seafaring Vikings, so by the 1400s chess was played throughout Europe. There are quite a few variations to the game found in other parts of the world. For instance, one variation called shogi is played in Japan. Another variation is played in China. One person whose name stands out in the history of chess.
Okay, now this is the first part of the lecture. I don't know, was it easy, average, or difficult?
Yes, it's easy.
It was easy. Okay, good. Now, say game began in Afghanistan and
Northern India.
okay, so northern India. Okay, so here we need to capitalize India and northern is missing an R here. Northern India. Okay, now that's good. Do you all agree, guys? Do you all agree with Khawla's answer?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now, reached Europe by
By the year 100, 1000.
100?
1000.
Yeah, so by the year 1000. Okay, good. So here we don't need an agent. So it's not, you know, a name of a person.
Time.
Yeah, so we need time. Okay, and we need a country number
China.
3. Okay, now China. Is this correct?
Capitalization.
Yes, excellent. So we need a capital letter for C. Well, this is part number 1. Now we're going to focus on part number 2, chess now. So this is the genitive case. We need a noun here. Named after English chess master. So what was named after? Named after is to take the name of. Okay, for example, you could say I was named after my grandfather. For example, your grandfather is Saleh, so your name will be, and your father is
Saleh.
Muhammad. Yes, your name will be, yes. So your name will be, for example, Samir Ahmed Saleh. You say, I was named after my grandfather. Okay, you took the name of your grandfather. Okay, now here the same thing. So what was named after English chess master? And first, it was in 1866. Okay, we listen.
Person whose name stands out in the history of chess is played in Japan. Another variation is played in China. One person whose name stands out in the history of chess is the chess master Howard Staunton. Staunton lived in England in the mid-1800s and gave his name to the chess pieces that are still used in competitions all over the world today and are, in fact, synonymous with the game. Other shapes and sizes exist, but these are by far the most common. Interestingly enough, however, the idea of chess competitions is relatively recent when we consider how long the game has been in existence. The first championship was played in 1866 in London and was won by a man from Bohemia called Steinitz.
Okay.
He was in a variation called shogi.
Okay, now, can you answer the questions here? Can you complete the notes? Now, today is what?
Marston.
No, okay, this is the name of the person. But here we're looking for something that was named after this chess master. So listen again.
Played in Japan. Another variation is played in China.
Okay.
One person whose name stands out in the history of chess is the chess master Howard Staunton.
Well, Staunton is the name of the person, but he gave his name to something. What is it? Listen.
Staunton lived in England in the mid-1800s and gave his name to the chess pieces
What did he give his name to?
Chess pieces.
Chess pieces. Very good. Okay, the chess pieces. So he gave his name to the chess pieces, and this is why today the chess pieces, are named after English chess master Staunton. Okay. Now, and here we have first what?
Championship.
Excellent, very good. So first championship. Okay. Now chip is a suffix. Now ship is
صعبة هاي.
ها
صعب كيف نكتبها championship.
championship. Now ship is a suffix. Suffix is a group of letters added to the end of a word or in the end of a word. Yeah, ship. Like for example, if you say
Leadership.
leadership, ahsanti. Okay. And for example, hardship. Okay. Relationship.
Relationship.
Mother.
Ship.
Motherhood. Okay, we say motherhood, fatherhood, brotherhood, but we say relationship, championship. Okay, so these are suffixes. Okay, good. Now, if you know how to write the word the champion, and you simply add ship to it. So this is not difficult. Okay, good. Now, here Capablanca. Now, Lasca played Capablanca in 1921. Capablanca is considered among the top, we need a number, names. Okay, so you may not hear the word names, so maybe the speaker will say something, but it means names. Okay, so let's have a listen.
that are still used in competitions all over the world today and are, in fact, synonymous with the game. Other shapes and sizes exist, but these are by far the most common. Interestingly enough, however, the idea of chess competitions is relatively recent when we consider how long the game has been in existence. The first championship was played in 1866 in London and was won by a man from Bohemia called Steinitz. He was, in effect, the world's first official champion, and he held the title until 1894, when he was beaten by a German called Emanuel Lasca, who in turn lost the title in 1921 to a Cuban called Capablanca. Many people today consider Capablanca as one of the top 3 players ever to live.
So, as one of the top 3 players. So
3 players.
what should we write?
3 players.
I will write 3 players, but is this correct? So players here has been substituted with names. Okay, so players and names, the same thing. So normally I should write only, we said that
only
we need a number. Okay, now 3 names in the history of the game. Okay, now this is the first part. Okay, now the second part, so it will be about this one, and here we will be focusing on what you call signposting. Okay, so we will do this together. So I will try to lead you through the steps of identifying signposting, and I will tell you how they can help you on testing. Now complete the notes below. Write no more than 1 word for each answer. Well, this is the first part of the listening activity. Now here we have questions 1, 2, 3. That's 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so this is about the study of child language acquisition, and we said acquisition is the fact that you can acquire the language. It is not in a classroom. No, it is from your parents and from your surrounding environments.
يكتسب.
أحسنت الاكتساب. Okay, so you may have some knowledge about this topic and it will make it easier. Now here we have 3 points. Number 1 is fascinating. Now, what does fascinating mean?
Like very good.
Very good. Yeah, fascinating means extremely interesting. Okay, now if something fascinates you, it means that it is extremely.
مبهر.
No, that's an adjective. Is it clear? Now, adjective, so we have three forms of adjective. We have the regular form like
Something
happy, sad, okay, angry. Now these are adjective. And then we have present participle adjective. Present participle, so the adjective ends in ing, like interesting, like boring. And we have past participle adjectives, so they end in ed. Like, for example, fascinating. So the past participle adjective is fascinated. You could say, I'm fascinated by something, or something is fascinating. Now, fascinating, it means that, well, this thing or this person, it has or it produces the effect. Now, this is why here we have the ing. It produces the effect. And ed, now it receives the effect. For example, the lecture was boring. Now, the lecture produces the effect. And you could say, as a student, I was bored with the lecture today. Okay? So we have three types of adjectives. Okay, cool. Now, fascinating, it means extremely interesting. Why? We have a reason here. Because. And here we have because. And here we have because. Now, this one is an adjective. The number here, 2. What should it be? Should it be
same.
yeah, same thing. Yeah, because here we have adjective, because, reason. And here, adjective, reason. And here, adjective, reason. Okay, so deciding the type of word, guys, is a very good technique. Okay, so to stay focused while listening. Okay, so this is an adjective. I will put it here, adjective, and another adjective. So, and each adjective is followed by a reason. Okay. And as I told you before, more often than not, the answers are paraphrased. You will not hear the same words. Okay, now, but it is the study of child language acquisition is fascinating for one reason. Well, because people have N in children's learning. What do they have? And here they said no more than one word. So this word, it should start with what? Because we have N.
Vowel.
Yeah, a vowel sound. So it must start with a vowel sound. Vowel sounds, how many vowel sounds do we have in English? Or how many vowels do we have in English? How many vowels do we have in English?
5 vowels.
5 vowels. What are they?
I love you, A.
Yeah, I don't know where you come up with this, but it is UAE, okay, and 10.
I-O.
Yes, UAE 10, you will never forget them. So, and of course here, the vowel sound, U, okay, the sound could be a vowel sound, like ah, for example, umbrella. Now, it's an ah sound, now that's a vowel sound, but U is not a vowel sound, like
Yes.
university. Now we say a university, or we say an umbrella. And the and the and the and the o. Okay, now these are vowel sounds. Now the word should start with the vowel sound because we have an. This is a rule in English. So grammar can help you. Okay, pick out the answer. Good. We're gonna focus on this one. And here, how many points do we have? How many points?
3 points.
Yeah, excellent. Now, normally when writers, okay, have a list of points, okay, they will use some cohesive devices, okay. It's,
Consequence.
yes, very good. Okay, that denotes or the sequence. Okay, so maybe firstly, secondly, finally. Okay, so what are you going to do when you listen? Try to pay attention to these words because they will simply save your life on test day. They are very important, and you will do the work easily without, being what shall I say? Stressed out.
Stress.
Yeah, without panic. Okay, so if you know the strategies, you will feel more comfortable during test day. It's very important. So well, there are 3 points. So normally, if you want to talk about them, so you're going to use some, cohesive devices. And this is what you need to focus on. And you will get all the answers correctly, inshallah. Okay, number 1, we're going to do number 1. So this is track number 33. So I think I skipped one. Track 33. Yeah, okay.
Track 33.
Today, in our series of lectures on language, we are going to be looking at the way in which children acquire language. This area of study is characterized by 3 main features which
Well, he said this area of study is characterized by 3 main features. Well, 1, 2, and 3. Now here the idea is it general or specific? It is characterized by 3 main features. Now, is this something general or specific?
General.
Yeah, something very general. Okay, and then the speaker will go about explaining these features. And as I told you, so maybe they will use some transition phrases or cohesive devices. Okay, and these will help me navigate through their talk easily. And that's what you need to do. Okay, let's have a listen now.
may explain the interest in the topic. Firstly,
So what did he say?
Firstly,
Yeah, firstly, well, we are here. Okay,
people find it fascinating.
so he said people find it fascinating. Now, what is he going to do?
explain.
Excellent. So he will give a reason. Why do people find it fascinating? So because here we have because. Okay. Now this is what we need to focus on, guys. Okay.
This stems from the natural interest that people take in the developing abilities of young children. It is characterized by 3 main features which may explain the interest in the topic. Firstly, people find it fascinating. This stems from the natural interest that people take in
So this stems from the natural what? This stems from, now this is because of what? He said the word.
An interesting
Yes, no, interest, only interest.
interest.
Yeah, so this stems from, or this is because of. Okay, now this is a reason, or this is how we express a reason.
is characterized by 3 main features which may explain the interest in the topic. Firstly, people find it fascinating. This stems from the natural interest that people take in
So this stems from the natural interest that people take. Then people take an interest, okay, or people have an interest. Okay, the same thing, but it's only paraphrased. Now, interest, that's number 1. Not in, okay. Okay, now what should you do? You should relax, okay? Jump to number 2 and wait for the second signpost word. Now that's what you need to do, guys, okay? Because here they will be talking things that are not really important for me. Now here, importance is, determined by whether whatever they will say will help you or not. Okay, so it will not help me answer any question. So it's okay. I will just find for the second signpost and then word, and then I will try to answer question number 2. Okay, listen.
the developing abilities of young children. They are amazed by the way in which children learn, particularly their own children. Secondly,
What did he say?
Secondly,
So,
Secondly, okay, so this is number 2. Now I need to focus. Okay, I will just rewind it a bit.
their own children. Secondly, it's important to study how we acquire our first language.
What did he say? How did he describe this?
how acquire
No,
with
no, no,
accent.
no. Focus on the adjectives only. And we need only one word, no more than one word. You need to focus on the adjectives. So that's why we try to predict the type of words. We said adjective, adjective, adjective. Okay, so secondly, focus. First, he will start by mentioning, the adjective. I repeat.
Learn, particularly their own children. Secondly, it's important to study how we
What did he say?
both
Huh?
important.
Yeah, very good. So
Important.
it's important. Okay, now for British people, they do not pronounce the R. Okay, they would say it's important. American English, they would roll it. So they would say it's important, important. Okay, but British English, no, they say it's important. Mindful. Okay, so be careful. Okay, now what should you do? The same thing. So the speaker will go about
Move.
providing some reason. These reasons are not important for me. It's okay. I will be waiting for the third signpost. And I need to pick out what you call adjective only. Okay, so they will here, provide some explanation. That's not very important for me. I need to wait for the signpost, the third one.
Acquire our first language, because the study of how children learn can lead us to a greater understanding of language as a whole. The third point is that it's a complex area of study.
What should we write?
Complex.
Yes, so he said the third point, and it's a complex area of study. Why complex? Okay, so these are our answers. So we have interest, important, complex. The same thing, he will provide some explanation. Now, this is a summary of the explanation. That's not very important. Normally, you should jump to number 4 here and try to, preview the questions. We have 4, 5, 6. Now, what do you call this? A box flowing into the other. What do you call this? This type of chart.
السيكونس نفس الشيء صح ولا غير؟
Yeah, this is a flow chart. This is a flow chart. We have talked about flow chart. I think when we were doing reading, so flow chart. Okay, and here here because there is a sequence. Now this is the first stage, or maybe the stage starts with or begins with, or firstly, and then another sequence word, and here another sequence word. Okay, so this will help you. You should understand when they give you these things, okay, when they speak about a flow chart, okay, there will be some, sequence words that they will use. And this is what you need to follow, okay? This way you will never be lost or you will never lose track of what they are saying. But if you do not pay attention to these words, so you are unlikely to answer these questions. Okay. Write no more than 2 words and or a number for each answer. Now, discussion of something, we need a noun, includes. Now, this discussion of something, it includes use of diaries, recordings, and tests. Now here, today we're going to discuss, or we're going to talk about something like this. Discussions of what? And this is number 1. Number 2, it is a speech in infants. What's an infant? What is an infant? We have already explained this word before. Infant. A young what? An infant is a young what? Yes, guys. No, guys, what is an infant? Oh my God. Are you listening, guys?
A young.
A young what? A young
صغير
girl?
يعني.
Yeah, a young child. A young child is an infant. Okay, I told you. So normally from 0 to 2 years. Okay, infant. Speech in infants, and here this is the genitive case, and of life. So how is life measured? How do we measure life? Through what? Or by what?
Life experience.
Wallah. And if I ask you, for example, how old are you? What should you say?
My old.
Yeah, I am X years old. صح ولا?
Yes.
Yeah, the same
هني
thing.
الرقم.
Because here they said of life. And this is how we measure life. So speech in infants, I don't know, maybe years of life, maybe something like
First of life ولا يعني.
yeah, maybe first stage of life. I don't know. Okay, now speech in children, years. What do we need?
Also number.
Okay, and you are really good at numbers. Okay. ما شفتكم شاطرين إلا في النمبرز بس. Okay, so now we're gonna listen and we're gonna pay particular attention to signposting, so that we can follow, you know, what the speaker is trying to tell you. Okay, now let's listen.
And this is because of the enormous difficulties
here,
that
okay?
are encountered by researchers as soon as they attempt to explain language development, especially in the very young child. In today's lecture, we will cover a number of topics. We will start by talking about the research methods that are used.
Okay. What is the word or phrase that we should write here?
ما سمعت لأن عندي شيء.
Now, I said that this is a flow chart, and the writer, the speaker will be using signposting to make themselves clear. So I need to pay attention to words like, for example, start, begin, firstly, something like this. That's what I said. I will rewind it a bit.
Very young child.
Okay, listen.
In today's lecture, we will cover a number of topics. We will start.
What did he say? We will what?
Start.
We will start. Okay, now this is the start of the process. That's number one. Now I need to pay attention. He will say the word. Okay.
In today's lecture, we will cover a number of topics. We will start by talking about the
Now, talking about is the discussion of. Okay, and this is how this phrase is paraphrased. Now, the discussion of, or we will start by talking about, it's the same idea. I told you don't have to follow the same words. Okay, but ideas, not the same words. Okay.
Number of topics. We will start by talking about the research methods.
What did he say? Talking about what?
Research method.
Excellent. Yes, so here I will write research methods. Okay. Oops. Okay. Now, he said research methods. Okay, then he will talk about these things. And then what do I need to do? I need to jump to number 5 and wait for the signpost phrase or words. Okay, that's what I need to do. So he will be explaining those things. Because I told you, whenever it's written, so it will be reflected in the listening. But in other words, okay.
عندي سؤال.
Yes, go ahead.
research method جمع ولا مفرد؟
So he said research methods. Why did you ask this question?
لأن فيها includes اللي بعدها.
So what?
يعني إذا كان مفرد بيحطي لها اس.
No, look, where is the subject here?
Subject research method.
No. The subject is discussion. Now this is the subject.
Discussion.
Hey, Hadi, this is our subject. So I will highlight it. Okay, now this is the subject. And of research methods. What do we call this?
Object.
La. This is what you call prepositional phrase. So wait, I will write it here. This is a very good question, by the way. Prepositional phrase. Prepositional phrase. Mind my spelling. Okay.
Phrases يعني الكلمات اللي فيها phrase تبدأ. Okay.
You know, phrase is a number of words. Now here we have a prepositional phrase. It starts with a preposition. That's number 1. And then it will be followed by either a noun or a noun phrase. But together, نسميهم شو? Prepositional phrase. Now this is very important, especially when you are doing your grammar test. Okay, in the AMSAT. So when it comes to subject-verb agreement, now many students make this mistake. Okay, for example, I will give you an example. This is the key. For example, no, okay. I will say, okay, no, the key to the rooms. Okay. Now, what should you say? Is or are?
Is
rooms
Yes, is.
the key.
Why? Yes, because here this is the
Key,
subject.
مفتاح.
The key. Buhari to the rooms. What do we call this?
phrase.
Prepositional phrase. It starts with the preposition to, and this is subject. Now, students, when they see rooms, they will put are. This is wrong. Okay, now the key to the rooms is, and the keys to the room are. Okay, now we should ignore prepositional phrases. Now here we have discussion of research methods. Now discussion includes, is it clear?
Yes.
You should delete this one. This is what you call subject-verb agreement. So I think you're studying this with Mr. Ala. Okay. I'm talking about MSAT student, but this is the IELTS. I got confused. Okay, anyways. So discussion of research methods includes. Okay, this is a subject, singular subject, and this is a singular verb. Okay. Now we move on with the second one. We need to wait for the paraphrase here. It is children become aware that they can speak, and the speech in infants of life. Okay, so of life. Okay, we listen.
That are used. There are a number of ways that researchers can investigate children's language, and these include the use of diaries, recordings, and tests. And later in the course, we'll be looking at how researchers make use of these. We will then go on.
So he said, we will then go on. Well, this is then, we have then. Now that's a signpost. Now this is step number 2. Now this is why you need to pay attention here. We will then go on. Okay, so I need to pay attention here, wait for a phrase that means infants or maybe young children, something like this. And of life, we need something like years or something like that. Okay, we move on.
To examine the actual process of language learning, starting with the development of speech in young infants during their first year.
Okay, so what should we write here? Speech in infants.
First year.
Excellent, very good, excellent. So first year of life. Okay, now we say first year because here we talk about infants. Now first year of life. Okay, good. Now the speaker is going to provide some explanation. So this is the summary of the explanation. Well, that's not important, but you need to jump to here, number 6, and wait, you know, for the sign.
The sequence.
Post, yes. Okay, that signals a sequence. Okay, we listen. So he will provide some explanation here. This will give you enough time, okay, to read this one and then to hear exactly what, I mean, to the word, because here we are allowed to write, yes, 2 words here. Okay, so to hear to this one. Okay, so just give me a second. Okay.
This is the time associated with the emergence of the skills of speech perception. In other words, an emergence of the child's awareness of his or her own ability to speak. We will then move on to look.
So he said, we will then move on. Well, this is here. So we are here, number 3.
Look at language learning in the older child, that is, in children under 5.
So what did he say?
Children under 5.
Okay, children is already there, but we need to mention under 5. Yes, okay, under 5 years old. Okay, so under 5 years. And then he will give some explanation. Well, this is the explanation. Linguistic analysis becomes possible. Okay. Okay, and then the same thing here. We have another flow chart. So we're going to adopt the same strategies. Okay, but this time I will leave you to your own devices. I will not help you. Okay, so you have to focus on signposting. It's very important. So we have educational approaches, i.e. now this is a Latin phrase, it est, that is to say, or they might, he might say i.e., okay, or that's to say, or in other words, to illustrate, something like this. Ways of developing what? Now here we have, if you read the question, choose 4 answers from the box and write the correct letters A to G. Now, for example, the first answer to my question is language. You should never write language because here they ask you to write the correct letter. If you wrote language, you would get 0.
Okay.
So you should write A because you need to stick to the instructions. I told you that instructions or understanding the instructions is part of the exam. Many students, for example, subhanAllah, instead of writing A, they wrote language. They would get 0. Okay, be careful. Okay, now I will leave you to your own devices, guys. Okay, will not help you. So you have to do 7, 8, 9, and 10. And signposting will help you, and paraphrasing. Okay, so they will never say, you know, the same words. Okay, they will try to paraphrase them. And maybe they will not say listening, maybe they will not say reading, maybe they will not say speaking. Okay, so you have to look for the exact paraphrases of these words. Okay, so are you talking to me, Khawla?
لا.
Okay, but we listen.
As they mature, it is possible
We
to
are still
begin
here, guys.
analysis in conventional linguistic terms. And so, in our analysis, we will look at phonological, grammatical, and semantic development in preschool children.
Okay, now you listen.
In the second part of the talk, I would like to review some broad educational approaches to how linguistic skills can be developed in school-age children. Put another way, how can we, as teachers, assist our young learners to develop language in the classroom? First, we will look at some issues related to getting children to express themselves confidently when they talk, so we'll be looking at spoken language. We will then move on to that area which causes some children a lot more difficulty and review a number of approaches in relation to teaching children to read. For instance, issues such as whether to teach them to recognize whole words or go back to the more traditional methods of spelling the words out to find their meaning. And finally, we'll conclude with an account of current thinking on perhaps the most neglected area of all, the child's developing awareness of written language and how best to help them achieve in this area.
Okay, now was this easy, average, or difficult?
Easy.
Okay, alhamdulillah. Now, if you know, guys, if you know how, or if you are able to follow signposting, things will be very easy. But the difference between you and someone who does not pay attention to signposting, they will lose their way. Okay, so in the conversation, and they may not be able to answer the questions. Okay, now what is the answer to question number 1? I mean here, number 7.
A.
A, excellent. So he said language. Okay, now here we will write A. Good. Okay, and the answer to question number 8.
D.
D, speaking. Yes, he said spoken language. Okay, D. And this one, I mean 9,
C.
number 9. C, reading. Okay, I will write, sorry.
C.
Yeah, it must be C. And the last one is?
Written. G.
Yeah, very good. Excellent. Okay, excellent. Okay, now this is the way you should do it. And as I said before, the most important thing, because here, task number 4 look, task number 1, it will be divided into 2 parts. How many sections do you have in the listening test? How many sections?
4 sections.
4 sections. Okay. Number
This
1
one
is
is.
easy. This is number 4.
This one is section 1, right?
Section 4.
هذا section 4 سهل.
Yes, because no, it is not easy. You will see. I will give you a test today. Okay, but it's not that easy. But the section number 4. Okay, now I will tell you why it is challenging. Now for section 1, okay, it will be divided into 2 parts. For example, they will ask you, okay, read the questions 1 to 5. This is part number 1, and then read the questions 6 to 10 to answer. Okay, so it will be divided. Section 2, it will be divided into 2 parts. Section 3 will be divided into 2 parts. But section 4, no. They will ask you, okay, read the questions 31 to 40. So they will not split up the section into 2 parts. Is it clear?
Yes.
Now, this is why. So it means, and you have little time, okay, to read, I mean, to preview the questions. You will have little time only. This is why it is a challenge. Okay, but for some students, subhanallah, they may really do well in section number 4, and they may not do well in section number 1. غريبة. Okay, now this is section 4. So what are we going to do now? We're going to do this test. Now, this is the last test in this textbook, and then we're going to do a whole text from 1 to 40 and see how much you can score and see the band that you can achieve. Now, this one is questions 1 to 3. Write no more than 3 words. I told you this. So if they said no more than 3 words, one of the answers could, okay, be answered only in 3 words. Okay. The animal. What do we need here? We have fox. We have cane toad. What do we need? Number 1.
An animal.
Yeah, the name of an animal. Okay, the fox is an animal, and the cane toad is an animal. And this is what they call a toad. It's a type of a frog. It's a toad. And the cane, you know, so this is what they call the hard stem of a plant. Sugar cane. This is the cane toad. And we need to come up with the people, okay, who brought them to a place. So I think in this case, it's Australia. Okay, now we have the settlers, and this could be the settlers or maybe other people. We don't know. And the reasons why did they bring, you know, these animals to Australia? Now, for food, well, that's one reason. To kill beetles. Now, beetle is an insect, and it has a hard shell, black or I don't know other colors. To kill beetles. Well, that's one reason. Great. Okay. And then I'm not going to stop the recording, guys. You have to do it all. Here we have a flow chart. So normally here we have arrows. I think they are missing. This one, and here this one. Okay, and this is the last stage. Now here we have to pay attention to sequence words. Beetle lays egg, no more than 2 words here. Beetle lays egg or deposits eggs. The eggs become grub. Now, grub is a small insect. As soon as it comes out of, you know, the egg, it is called a grub. And then the grub eats what? We need a noun. And the sugar cane, what happens to the sugar cane? We need a verb. So here we need a verb, here we need a noun. That's the way you should do it. And here we have MCQs, multiple choice questions. As I told you, you have to underline or highlight the keywords. The cane originates. It means it comes from. We need originated, sorry. Where did it come from? Is it Central America or Hawaii or Australia? Here we're talking about, we're looking for the origin, okay? In Australia, the toads, what happened to them? They grew extremely large, or they multiplied in number, or they ate the cane beetles. Number 8, the farm's plan failed. So farmers had a plan, but this plan was not successful for one reason, okay? There were too many beetles, or their own research, the research that they conducted was wrong, faulty, or they believed the reports they read, okay, they accepted, okay, the reports that were written. The sugarcane industry thrives, so it is very successful today, or has died out in some areas, in some only, not in all areas, and yes, thrives survives alongside the beetle. Okay, and the last one, the second lesson. Now, most probably the speaker is going to talk about maybe 2 lessons or 3 lessons, and I need to focus only on the second lesson to be learned from this story. Now, this is a story. is that the environment is constantly always at risk, so in danger, or first-hand research is not always necessary, or caution is necessary when dealing with nature. There's only one lesson that, there's only one thing that we can learn from the second lesson. Okay, so I will not stop the recording, so you will do the 10 questions. So, but tell me, tell me if you are ready to listen. Are you ready, guys?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. Okay, cool. Yalla, bismillah. Okay, so this is 34.
Track 34. In today's lecture, I want to look at one of Australia's least loved animals, but one that has an interesting history from which I think we can learn a fundamental lesson about problem solving. While Australia is famous for its many wonderful native animals, in particular the kangaroo and the koala, it also has some less attractive animals, many of which were actually brought to Australia in the 19th and 20th centuries. First, perhaps the most well-known introduced animal is the rabbit, brought originally by the early settlers as a source of food. Another animal to be introduced by the settlers was the fox, and this was for the purpose of sport in the form of fox hunting. But perhaps the most unusual animal ever brought here was the cane toad. Here is a picture of one. It's a large, and some people would say very ugly species of toad, and was deliberately imported to this country by the sugarcane farmers in 1935 in an attempt to eradicate the beetle which destroys the sugarcane plant. So, how does the beetle do this? Well, it lives in the cane and drops its eggs onto the ground around the base of the plant. The eggs develop into grubs, and then they eat the cane roots. This, as you would expect, is far from good for the plant, and the result is, of course, that within a short period of time, the plant dies. The problems all happened because in the mid-30s there was a serious outbreak of cane beetle, and the farmers became desperate to get rid of the pest which was ruining their livelihood. About this time, news was trickling in from overseas about a toad, which supposedly ate the beetles which killed the cane. It was reported that this cane toad, which was native to Central America, had been taken to Hawaii, where cane is also grown, and introduced with apparent success. So, with the backing of the Queensland authorities, the farmers arranged to import 100 toads from Hawaii. The toads were then released into the cane fields to undertake the eradication of the cane beetle. As predicted, the toads started to breed successfully, and within a very short time their numbers had swollen. But there was one serious problem. It turned out that cane toads do not eat cane beetles, and the reason for this is that toads live on insects that are found on the ground, and the cane beetles live at the top of the cane plant, well out of reach of the toads. In fact, they never come into contact with each other. Now, you may well ask, how did this terrible mistake ever happen? And the reason is quite simply that the farmers were desperate to find a way of ridding their fields of the cane beetle, and so they accepted the reports that had been written, without ever doing their own research. Meanwhile, much of tropical northeast Australia is infested with the cane toad, which serves no purpose whatsoever, and experts claim that the toad is spreading south in plague proportions. The added irony is that in 1947, just 12 years later, an effective pesticide was developed which actually kills the beetle, thereby ensuring the survival of the sugarcane industry to this day. Now, as agricultural scientists, we have to ask ourselves, what lessons are to be learned from this tale? And I can think of three main points. Firstly, one should never rely on claims which are not backed up by evidence, i.e., in this case, evidence that the cane toad actually eats the grub of the cane beetle and thereby kills the pest. Secondly, we should look very carefully at possible effects of introducing any living species into a new environment. And lastly, one should not allow one's decision-making to be influenced by a sense of desperation, which may cloud the issue. In other words, one should always seek objective advice.
Okay, guys. Now this is the test. How did you find this? Easy, average, or difficult?
Difficult.
Difficult. Average. Okay, so let's have a look at the answers. Now, the animal here, I mean, number
Rabbit.
one, the rabbit. Okay, great. So, rabbit, and mind your spelling, guys. So, R-A-B-B-I-T. Okay, and the fox, why did they bring the fox?
Hunting.
Hunting. Yeah, we can write hunting. Or if you wrote sports, it's okay, no problem. But hunting is very clear, you know the word. The cane toad, who brought cane toad to Australia?
Sugarcane.
Sugarcane what? We need people. Sugarcane what? What do you call people who work on a farm or work on land? Farmers. No, she said sugarcane farmers. Okay, if you wrote farmers, no, it's fine, no problem. But if you wrote sugarcane only, no, that's wrong. Because here we need people. We have settlers, we have farmers. Okay, so who got this answer? Nobody, right?
I didn't.
Brought by sugarcane only.
No, sugarcane cannot bring animals to Australia. They cannot perform this. Now, this action should be performed by people, but not by plants. Okay. Anyways, so beetle lays eggs, and the eggs become grubs, and the grubs eats the
Cane roots.
excellent. Ahsan, the cane roots. Okay, great. And what happens to the sugar cane after they eat the root? Sugar cane.
Die.
Yes,
Plants
dies. Here we should write dies because here we have a singular subject. Sugar cane dies. Okay, good. Then, what is the origin of the cane toad? The origin. Where did they come
Hawaii.
from? Not Hawaii, no.
Central.
Central
In
America.
America.
Yes, Central America. Now, this is the origin. I will choose another color. Okay, Central America. And then what happened to the toads?
Ate the cane beetles.
No. So I think you should listen
Hey.
again. Okay, I will.
A way of ridding their fields of the cane beetle, and so they accepted the reports that had been written.
No.
As predicted, the toads started to breed successfully,
So they started to breed successfully.
and within a very short time their numbers had swollen.
So the numbers have swollen. Swollen, yani the numbers have increased. So what should you choose?
A.
No, A grew extremely large. They are not cows, they are toads.
على بيكون B.
B,
بس
yes.
هو بالإنجليزي يعني قرب بعد نفس
No, قال the numbers having swollen. Okay, swollen ينتفخ, to swell. Okay, the
Okay.
numbers have swollen, so it means multiplied in number. So they become too many. They became too many. So the numbers have swollen, so it means that they became too many. So we're going to choose this one. Okay, and here there is a reason why the plan failed. Okay, we listen.
Toads. In fact, they never come into contact with each other. Now, you may well ask, how did this terrible mistake ever happen?
Now, how did this terrible mistake ever happen? Now, this is the question. And here we will be looking into the reasons and choose the the correct one.
And the reason is quite simply that the farmers were desperate to find a way of ridding their fields of the cane beetle.
So they were desperate to get off here the beetles. Okay, they didn't have any other choice. They were desperate.
And so they accepted the reports that
So they accepted reports.
had been written.
The report.
Yes, yeah. So this one they believed. If you accept something as true, it means you believe it. Okay, so they believe the reports they read. Okay, now this is the answer to this question. Okay, and what about the sugarcane industry today? So listen.
And experts claim that the toad is spreading south in plague proportions. The added irony is that in 1947, just 12 years later, an effective pesticide was developed which actually kills the beetle.
Now the Australian government, what did they do exactly? They developed a pesticide, and this pesticide, it kills the beetles. Okay.
thereby ensuring the survival of the sugarcane industry to this day.
Okay, thereby ensuring the survival of the sugar industry until this day. The sugar industry until this day. It means that today, while it thrives, it is very successful. It is not thanks to the toads that they brought from Central America, but it is due to a pesticide that the government developed. Okay, and number 10. So, what is the lesson? So, I think this one is easy. What did
A.
you choose? A, no, the environment is constantly, no, look, there is one word. Okay, so let's listen to this word.
Now, as agricultural scientists, we have to ask ourselves, what lessons are to be learned from this tale?
We need to focus on the second lesson only, guys, not the first one.
And I can think of 3 main points. Firstly, one should never rely on claims which are not backed up by evidence.
So you should never rely on claims which are not backed up by evidence. Okay, احنا قلنا when we have a claim, so in order to this claim to be a valid argument, so you have to come up with, you know, some evidence or premises. Okay.
I.e., in this case, evidence that the cane toad actually eats the grub of the cane beetle and thereby kills the pest. Secondly,
Well, that's what we need to focus on. Secondly,
we should look very carefully at
we should look very carefully. Now, there is a word here which means careful. Be careful. What is it?
الجواب سي لأنه قال عن
سي.
الطبيعة.
Yes. لا لأنه قال caution. Now, caution or حذر. You should be very careful. Okay. So it is C. Okay. We will carry on.
possible effects of introducing any living species into a new environment.
Okay, now the possible effects of introducing any new species into the environment, well, you should be very careful. Now, this is what is called caution. Caution is necessary when dealing with nature, okay, which is environment. Okay, now this is the test. I don't know, guys, how much you have scored here. If you can give me your scores. Abdurrahman, how much did you get?
6 out of 10.
Okay, 6 out of 10. Hassan. Hassan. Khawla, how much did you get?
5.
5. Okay, 5 out of 10. But what we're gonna do now, we are
لو ركزت بجيب أكثر بس
yeah, okay. هلا بغيت
الوضع في البيت ما شاء الله.
كيف الوضع الحين تمام؟
الحمد لله.
Bye, okay. Now, what are we going to do? We are going a whole complete listening test, okay? And I'd like you to take a piece of paper and you write numbers from 1 up to 40, 40 questions, okay? So you have to do the whole test. And then I will give you some, you know, practice tests that you can do alone at home. But here we will do this, what we call guided. So it will be guided. So we're going to do section 1. You will have to report your answers section 2, section by section. And then we will, you should tell me about your overall score, and we will turn this into a band. And hopefully nobody will get less than band 6. Now this is our target. Okay, so I'm confident that, you know, maybe two of you guys can achieve a band 7 or maybe more. Okay, so let me switch to the test. Now this is the test. This is section number 1, and I told you should never miss out on section number 1 because it is the easiest. Okay, so this is a guided listening test, so we're going to do it together. Okay, now when you do your actual test, they will always start with an example. They will give you an example, and here we have the example is Harry, which is a name. And here last name, what do we need?
Name.
Yeah, we need name, and we should pay particular attention to capitalization. I need your name, capital letter. Okay, and here we have date of birth. It is the 11th, month is December, and here year, what do we need?
Number.
Number. Okay, great. And type of membership. Now, when we're talking about membership, okay, so here we're going to be listening at the schematic level. So, what types of membership do you know? Is it full time or
عضوية
eh, بس the type?
جولدنج سيلفر ولا هذا صح؟
Okay, but good. Yeah, so something like this. Okay, now activities we have badminton. You know badminton?
No.
No, badminton, so it is, I think, played by Indians. So you have a racket.
عرفناها
عرفتوها,
هاي اللي
right.
يلعبوها بالعصا.
Yeah, okay. No. That's not
Mhm.
baseball. No. You have something like this. Okay, and here you have feathers. I'm really bad at drawing.
أيوة
Okay,
هي
and they use a racket.
نفس
Okay.
التنس.
Yes, so it is
الريشة.
a reach. Okay. And then here we have the payment details. Now we have 450 pounds. And this sum of money is to be paid. So maybe at one go or maybe through installments. We don't know. Okay, so this is only prediction because here to be paid
Maybe in advance.
or maybe in advance. Okay, cool. And the second exercise, now these are short answer questions. Now, what exercise do you do regularly? Now, maybe someone is asking the one who is interested in enrolling in this center. Now, do you have any injuries? Now, he has a type of injury, type of wound. Okay,
إصابة.
and what exercise? Now, the exercise, the name of exercise, the name of an exercise, and here an injury. And what is your goal or target? Now, a better what? Now, we need a noun because here we have an adjective. And what is your occupation? Means your job. What is he? So here we need a job. And how did you hear about the club? Okay, so I don't know, maybe by
نوع من أنواع
friend.
الادفرتايزنج.
Right, okay, now this is section number 1. Okay, so we're gonna do it. And I think it's a track 47. I have it. Yes, track 47. Okay, are you ready, guys?
Yes.
Okay, good. Abdurrahman, ready?
Yes.
Okay. And Hassan, I don't know whether Hassan is here or not. Hassan. No, he's not here. Okay,
There's nothing.
no problem. We're not going to wait for him. Okay, so track 47. Okay. We'll listen.
Recording 47.
You will hear a conversation between an assistant at a health club and a man who wants to join the club. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5.
Okay, up to here. We have already done this. Now, this is what you need to do on test day. So try to read the questions, try to write the type of word that you need. Okay, so whether you need a noun, a verb, adjective, and no more than 2 words, no more than 2 words.
Hi, can I help you?
Hello. Yes, is your club taking on new members at the moment?
Oh, yes. We're always interested in taking on new members. Just give me a moment and I'll get an application form. Right, here we are. So, let's start with your name.
It's Harry.
Okay. And your surname?
It's Simons.
Is that like Simon with an S?
No, it's Symonds. Most people find it rather difficult to spell.
I see. It has a silent D. I guess a lot of people miss that. Now, let me see. Can you tell me when you were born?
Yes, certainly. The 11th of December.
Thanks. And the year?
1996.
Okay, good. Now, are you thinking of becoming a full-time member?
Probably not. What kind of memberships do you have?
Well, we also have off-peak membership, which is between 9 and 12 in the morning and 2 and 5 in the afternoon. And then we do have a weekend membership.
So a weekend membership is just Saturday and Sunday?
Yes, that's right.
OK. Well, that's not going to work for me. It looks like I'll have to be full-time. I'm afraid off-peak membership won't do, as I'm not free at those times, and I don't just want to be restricted to weekends.
OK, I'll make a note of that. Right, we have several facilities at the club, including a gym, a swimming pool, tennis and squash courts. What activities are you planning on doing?
Well, do you have badminton?
Yes, we do.
And table tennis?
I'm afraid not. Well, not at the moment anyway.
Oh, OK. Well, I'm also very keen on swimming, so I'm glad you have a pool. I'll certainly be doing a lot of that.
OK, I've got that. Will you be using the gym?
No, I'm not interested in that.
OK. So just let me work out what the cost will be. Yes, that comes to £450 for the year. You can choose to pay annually for the full year or monthly. It's up to you.
Oh, I'd prefer to pay regularly in small amounts, rather than have a large amount to pay in one go, if that's okay.
Sure, that's fine. Right, I've got the most important details for now.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you will have some time to look at the questions 6 to 10.
Okay, now this is the second part, and that's what I meant by, okay, the task will be divided into two parts. Okay, so section 1, 2, and 3, they will be divided into two parts. Okay, so you have a break, kind of a break in between. Section number 4, no. You have to do it at one go.
Now listen and answer questions 6 to 10.
So, I'd just like to ask you a few questions about your lifestyle, if that's okay with you.
Yes, that's fine.
Do you do any regular exercise at the moment?
Yes, I do a bit.
Good. And what do you do?
Well, every few days I go jogging.
Yes, that's good. How long do you go for?
Well, it varies. I guess it depends on how energetic I'm feeling.
Yes, of course. Every little bit helps. Do you have any injuries at the moment?
Well, I did break a bone in my foot playing football a long time ago, but that's all healed up now. But in the last few days, I've realised I have a bad ankle. I think I must have injured it last week, and it's a bit sore now. But apart from that, I'm fine.
Right. I guess you might need to rest it for a few days to let it recover.
Yes, I will.
So, let me just ask you what you want to achieve by joining the club. Do you have any targets or goals?
Well, I suppose my main aim is to build up my fitness level. Is that the kind of thing you mean?
Yes, that's fine. All the activities you're going to be doing should certainly help you with that.
OK.
And could you tell me what you do for a living?
Well, I was a student up until recently.
OK. So what are you doing at the moment?
Well, I'm a charity worker.
Oh, that's fine. I'll write that down. OK, nearly done. One last question. Can I ask how you heard about the club? Did you see it advertised, or did you go to our website, for example?
Well, I've been looking for a health club for a while, and I asked my friends for suggestions, but they weren't much help. And then I was listening to the radio, and your club was mentioned. So I thought I'll go along and see what it's like.
Great. Well, we look forward to having you as a member.
Okay, now that's the first part.
That is
of
the end of section 1. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Okay, now she said you now have half a minute to check your answers, and that's what you're gonna have on test day. Okay, but you cannot check your answers simply because you won't be able to listen again to this conversation. Now, what should you do? You should devote this half minute or this 30 seconds to preview questions in section number 2. Okay, and when you're done with the test, they will give you
Now turn to section 2.
they will give you 10 minutes to transfer your answers to an answer sheet. Okay, so only then can you, for example, pay attention to the spelling of words, but here don't care about anything. It's okay. Now this is only for you. Now this is what you call the exam booklet, so it will be only for you, even if you make spelling mistakes, whatever. So what is really important is that when you transfer them, you make sure that the spelling is fine, everything is fine, that's it. And you have 10 minutes to do this. Okay, so as I said, they will give you 30 seconds. So try to devote this time to previewing section 2. It's very important. Okay, now let me ask you, how well do you think you did on this task? Number 1, was it easy?
Easy.
Okay. Okay, I will not get the answers now. Okay, so we will proceed with section number 2. Now here, what do we have? We have this one, questions 11 to 14. Yep, yeah, 11 to 14. Yes, okay. Now here we have MCQs. Now the next event at the hotel will be what is it? The next event. Will it be a trade fair, a wedding, or a party? 13, 11, 12. The number of guests will be less than 50. And here we have less, from 50 to 100. And here we have more than 100. Guests will start. They will start arriving. When exactly? And here we will have start arriving at 7:15, 7:30, 7:45. And maybe here they will say 7:15, 7:30, or 7:45. Okay, I don't know. And then the entertainment will be a live band, a comedian, or a magician. Okay, so these are the things that you're going to listen to. And then we will proceed with the second part. So let's focus on this part now.
Recording 48.
You will hear a hotel manager talking to her staff about the arrangements for an event to be held at the weekend. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 15.
11 to 14, guys, not 15.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all feeling okay after the activities of the last week or so. I know you've all been working very hard recently, and we've been exceptionally busy, especially with the wedding last weekend and the trade fair straight after that. And now we have only 3 days to prepare for the birthday party this weekend. The events recently have gone extremely well, and the hotel is beginning to get a very good reputation, so we need to keep it up. At the moment, we don't have exact numbers of guests, and though we usually only cater for groups of less than 50, we will have quite a few more than that. So, as I said, not sure of numbers, but of course we won't go over the maximum of 100. But it's likely that we will need all of you to work this weekend, so if any of you can't, please let me know as soon as possible. Right, so what time will the event start? Well, the invitation says guests should arrive between 7:30 and 7:45, but our experience is that there are always a few who like to arrive early, so we'll expect the first people at 7:15. As the numbers are quite large, this will certainly be the case. Food will be served at around 8:30, and then, depending on how long the meal takes, the entertainment will start about 2 hours later. Now, for this, we were expecting a live band for the occasion, which is always fun. But apparently this has been cancelled due to illness. So, the hosts know someone who is a comedian who will be replacing the band. We had hoped that the resident magician who worked here through the summer would be able to help out, but they weren't keen on that idea.
Okay.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you will have some time to look at the questions 16 to 20.
Okay, here there's a mistake. It is not 16, it is 15 to 20. Okay, now here 15. Okay, now for this task, guys, here we have names of people. We have Susan, Ahmed, Gary, and Olav and Monica. And here is what everybody should be doing. Now, offer drinks to guests. Who is this? Take guests' coats and hats and show guests where to go. And here you have to mention, to write a letter, but not the name of the person, okay? And no more than 3 words for each answer. So this is like a note completion. General instructions. This will be about the instructions that the hotel manager will give. In order to get the guests to move to the restaurant, the hotel manager will do what exactly? We need a verb. And seating plans will be placed on each table, and also now this is about the seating plans and where they are placed. So on each table, and also we need another place. And there will be a total of 3 what? A total of 3. We need a plural noun. Okay? Okay, so now you're gonna listen.
Now listen and answer questions 16 to 20.
So it's 15 to 20.
So, I'd just like to go through who's doing what when the guests arrive, and I think we'll make a few changes from the last party held here. If I remember correctly, it was Olav who coordinated the task of providing the guests with drinks. Or was it Ahmed? I'm not sure. But Gary asked to do it this time, so that will be his job. There's been no decision yet on what the drinks are going to be, but I hope they decide soon in case we need to order something special. Now, for receiving the guests' coats and hats, it's important we have someone experienced doing this, as we don't want guests losing their belongings. And Monica, last time this was your responsibility. Susan, I know you wanted to do this, but as the numbers are quite high for this event, I won't make a change here. Right. Now, last time there was some confusion as to where guests were supposed to go once they had deposited their things, and we had guests roaming around the whole hotel. So, Ahmed and Olav, I believe you discussed the problems with Susan and thought she would be good at guiding guests after they had arrived. And I'm fine with that. Right, and now for some general instructions. Once the guests have arrived, they will be in and around the lounge area, and then at around 8:30, we need to get them to move to the restaurant for their meal. This often proves difficult and can take a long time, so I will ring a bell so that everyone knows it's time to eat. Hopefully, this will speed things up a bit. Also, for this event, there'll be a seating plan, so the guests won't be able to decide for themselves where to sit. They'll have to sit according to the plan. There will be a plan on each table, and I've been thinking about where to put the master plan so everyone can view it before they enter the restaurant. As they'll be spending quite a while in the lounge, I've decided to also put a plan there. This should speed up the start of the meal. Once the meal starts, you'll all be very busy waiting on the tables, and I'm sure I don't need to tell you to be good-humoured and polite to all the guests. The organiser of the event will be saying a few words, and so will two of his colleagues. So, when the speeches start, all activity must stop in the restaurant, so that the three people giving them can be heard. This shouldn't take long, and it should be towards the end of the meal. After that, the guests will move back to the lounge for the entertainment. So, I think that's it. Any questions? Come and see me later.
Okay, now this is the end of...
That is the end of section 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Okay, as I said before, this half a minute should be devoted to previewing questions in section 3. Now here in section 3, now I don't know, how well do you think you did in section number 2, guys? Was it fine?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, now for section number 3, write no more than 2 words. And here we have, it's like...
Now turn to section 3.
It's like a flow chart. Oh, this is a process, okay? And it is about paper produced in a machine, okay? So what are you going to do? You're going to complete this flow chart, complete the flow chart, okay? Now I said, what is really important is to follow signposting here. So 21, and then 22, this is 22 number. The process goes this way: remove bark and chop wood, and this is number 22, and this is number 23 and 24, 25 up to here. Okay, now you need to understand the sequence of the process is very important through the arrows, so you can see 21, 22, and the answers will always be given at the same order of the listening passage. Okay, that's number 1. And then this is the second part, write no more than 2 words. Okay, so we will do the first part, and then we're going to pause for a while just to preview the questions. So let's do this. Okay.
Yes.
Track 35.
In September, I went on a trip to Machu Picchu in Peru and did the Inca Trail. Peru was a country that I'd always wanted to visit, mainly because South America is a different continent I had never visited before, even though I've done quite a bit of travel. I guess Peru was high on my list of priorities. So I did the Inca Trail, which was 4 days of camping and trekking, and it was incredibly challenging. It was an experience unlike any I've ever had before. I've done some camping and I've also done some bushwalking in the past.
What is
but
this? This has nothing
really
to do
trekking
with
at altitudes of sort
Just
of
play it,
4,500 meters.
Okay, I thought she was... Okay, so that was my mistake. Okay. She's not about Peru.
Recording 49.
Okay.
You will hear 2 students discussing an assignment. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 25.
Hi Melanie, what did you think of the assignment that we got today? It looks interesting, doesn't it?
Yes, Alan. I've always been interested in recycling, but there's a lot of research to do.
Yes, there are a lot of things I'm unsure of, so it's going to be good working with you.
Okay. Well, why don't we start by making a flowchart from the notes our tutor gave us?
Yes. So on one side we could have the paper production cycle here on the left, and on the other side the recycling.
Good idea. Let's start at the top with the production. The first step in the process is to get the raw materials.
Yes, and they tend to come from pine forests.
Okay. And then the bark is removed from the outside of the tree, and after that, the wood is chopped up. That's the first 3 stages.
It sounds a bit complicated after that. It says water is added, and then the mixture is heated and made into pulp. This will be the thick paste that is used to make paper.
Yes, you're right, because after that they use a machine to make the paper, and we can put that right in the centre of the flowchart, because it's also where the recycled paper joins the process.
Yes. So, once the paper has been produced in the machine, what happens then?
Well, I think we should write print as the next step, because this is when newspapers, magazines, etc. are produced. And we could also add that they have to be distributed to stores and people's homes.
Right. Then the recycling bit starts. The old paper's collected, and then it says it's taken somewhere so that someone or something can sort it. I imagine there are different kinds of paper, or things like paper clips that need to be removed.
Yes. Let's have a step after that. Now, how did our tutors say they do this? Oh yes, it involves chemicals. So, how is your chemistry?
Well, not very good, I'm afraid. But this is how they remove ink. So, this is definitely going to need a bit of research.
Right. The last step in the recycling section is similar to the last step in the production process, with heating and pulping, before the cycle begins again.
Okay. And here, of course, we will ask you to read questions 26 to 30. So we're going to do this together, but here we need to come up with no more than 2 words. Now, what part of the assignment is Alan going to start working on? Now, this is about Alan. And 27, where will Melanie get more information? Now, this is about Melanie. Get more information on newspaper collection. Well, we're looking for a place. And what will they add to the assignment to make it more interesting? Now, something will be added to the assignment, okay, to make it more appealing. And what do they agree to complete? Now, they need to agree on one thing here, to complete by the end of the month. And who will they ask to review their work? Who is going to review their work? Okay, now these are 5 questions. Okay, I have highlighted the most important words. You need to listen and you try to come up with the correct answers. No more than 2 words.
Now listen and answer questions 26 to 30.
So, I think going through the processes helped. Now we need to decide how we're going to do this assignment.
Yes. I guess what we need to do is take the processes and divide them up between us. But we could start thinking about an introduction.
Yes, okay. Well, I can start doing that. I think I have enough to go on already.
Good. And there are a few areas where we need a lot more information. I think I'll start with something easy. Let's say the paper collection. I could go to the resource centre to do some research.
Well, I think a better idea would be to approach someone who's involved in the process. What about contacting the council?
Oh, good idea. Yes, I'll do that instead. They're bound to have some information. And I know just the thing to add to our work to make it even more interesting.
And what's that?
Well, in my last assignment, I added a few pictures, and the feedback I got was that this wasn't academic enough. So what might really bring it to life would be to include some data, provided we can find some.
Yes, that sounds excellent. Well, we certainly have a lot to do, and not much time to do it in.
You're right. I think we have about 5 weeks, so I suggest we create a plan of work today. The end of the month is nearly 3 weeks away, and then we have a few days holiday.
Yes, so let's see if we can get the first draft done by then, so we can take a short break.
Okay. Then after the break, we'll have just over a week to complete it. I wonder if we could get someone to review our work for us a few days before the deadline, so we can make some final changes. What about your friend, Henry?
Well, the best person would be our tutor. Henry's very good, but he's taking a whole week's holiday, and there won't be enough time when he returns.
Okay then, that's fine.
Okay.
That is the end of section 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Okay, as I said, you need to devote this half a minute to previewing questions in number 4. Now, section number 4, it will not be split up into 2 parts. Now, it's only 1 part. You will be asked to, you will have some time to read the questions 31 to 40. But here, I don't know. So I think it must be like this. Okay. Now, this is about hair. And you have to answer a total number of 10 questions.
Now turn to section 4.
Okay, section 4.
Recording 50.
You will hear a lecture about hair. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40.
Yeah, 31 to 40. So you have to do it at one go, guys. So here we need to come up with the main purpose, warmth, and something else. So we need a noun. Main component, keratin, makes fingernails what? So we need an adjective. And full head of hair can support a large weight equal to, so we need a number. Average number of strands of hair, now this is the number for an adult. And a large amount of money spent on what exactly? For hair in the UK. The structure of the hair, we have bulb like something similar to it. Root contains a glands that supply what exactly? We need a noun. And the shaft not, something else. And health and hair, one word only. Change it.
Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Good morning and welcome to this lecture on hair, which is a part of the human biology course. This lecture covers a number of facts about hair, its structure, and what can affect the general health of hair. So, first of all, what is hair and why do we have it? If we look back at our ancestors, we'll see that they had a lot more hair on their bodies than we do now. And there are, or were, 2 main reasons for having hair. One is to provide warmth, but as humans have worn clothes for many years, body hair has significantly reduced. The other is for protection. And again, this isn't as significant as it was once, but hair does still benefit areas of the body, such as the head and around the eyes. Now, hair, whatever it is for and wherever it is on the human body, is composed mainly of a protein called keratin. This, by the way, is also found in fingernails. In fact, it's keratin which makes them flexible, and without it they would be very rigid. Another interesting fact about hair is that it is very strong as iron, in fact. One single strand can support a weight of up to 100 grams. This may not sound all that much, but a full head of hair can support up to 12 tons, which is the equivalent of a couple of elephants, which is simply amazing, though I advise you not to put this to the test. Humans lose up to 100 strands of hair a day, but we do have quite a lot of hair to start with. There's some variation depending on hair color, but for an average adult, the strand count is 100,000, so losing 100 a day is not too bad. Although this is the average, people with red hair have around 80,000 strands, black or brown hair 100,000, and blondes have about 120,000. So, hair used to be important for the reasons I mentioned earlier, but nowadays I'd say the main importance of hair is the fact that it is big business. Apart from the money involved in hair cutting, shaving, trimming, etc., a fortune is spent just on hair products. In the UK alone, consumers spend over £5 billion each year on these. So next, I'd like to just give you a quick overview of the structure of hair. As you can see, along the length of the hair, there are three main parts, called the bulb, the root, and the shaft. A single hair is fixed at one end below the skin in the bulb. The bulb acts rather like a cap. It encloses the end of the hair in the head. The next part of the hair is the root, and this is the part of the hair which lies just beneath the skin, and, in terms of hair production, is the most important. This can be considered the control center for each strand of hair, and is where the glands are found. These produce oil, which flows along the length of the hair, and the health of the root determines the overall health of the strand of hair. The last part is the shaft, and this is the hair which is above the skin, and is, of course, what we can see. Fortunately, this is not active, and I say fortunately because otherwise it would be very painful to have your hair cut. And finally, I'd just like to go over a few factors that impact on the overall health of hair. Like every other part of the body, our diet, that is, what we eat, is extremely important to the condition of our hair. But whereas a change in your diet to, for example, eating unhealthy foods will soon be noticeable in your skin, changes to your hair will take a lot longer. A change in diet today could take several months to have an effect on your hair. And so, what is the key to healthy hair? Well, eating a balanced diet is the most important thing. There are a number of vitamins that are vital for good hair health. The main ones being vitamins C, D, and E. And in a balanced diet, all these vitamins should be readily available. If you need a boost of vitamin C, for example, one of the best things to eat are blueberries. For vitamin D, the best examples are fish, mushrooms, and eggs. And for vitamin E, nuts and seeds. Right, so let's go on to what it...
I missed this. Okay, now this is the whole test. Now, how confident do you feel about your answers, guys? Now, was it good?
Yes.
Okay, now you see that in part number 4, so the most important thing is to follow signposting. Okay, now if you follow them, I think you
The
might
last
probably
two,
done.
I didn't get it.
Yes, yes. So the last two, I will tell you why. Okay, so I will just give you the answers, and then you report your scores. So that was I think number 4. Writing skills. Now here we're looking for writing.
Simon.
Yeah, we
Nice.
need listening. Yeah, so listening. Yeah, so this is practice test 4. Is it test 4?
I can't remember.
You cannot remember. Okay, so let's see.
No. لا مو بهذه لأن أول جواب كان سايمون.
Okay.
Simon.
Okay, so we will go back to maybe 3. Yeah, this one, right?
Yes, yeah. Simon.
Okay. Now the answers to section number 1, we have Simon's, and it is a silent D, and they spelled the name for you. 1996, full time. Full time. So whether you use this hyphen or not, it doesn't really matter. Swimming. And here monthly. I think this one is difficult.
Regularly, she got.
No, regular. She said, because you have to listen to what the secretary said. She said either monthly or yearly or monthly. You know, he said in regular amount, it means monthly. Okay. So this is what you need to, infer. The jogging. And this is a bad ankle.
Yes.
And not uncle with you, no. And fitness level.
Yes.
Charity worker. And then radio.
Okay.
Okay, good. Hassan, are you following?
Hassan طلع.
Okay. Abdurrahman, sorry. Abdurrahman, are you following? Abdurrahman, did you record your score?
Yes, I got
Okay.
1 wrong.
Okay, 1 wrong. But Khawla, how much did you get?
1, 2, 3,
in this section?
1 to 5.
No, 1 to 10. Abdurrahman got 9.
Only, yes, also me.
Khawla, you got
only
9?
Monthly, yeah.
Okay, 9. Okay, great. Now, listening section 2. So 11 C. 12 B. 13 A. 14 B. 15 C. 16 E. 17 A. And then we have ring a bell. Or if you wrote ring bell, no problem. Now this A, it is a determiner we can do without, no problem. Okay. Lounge. And here we can say 3 speeches or 3 speakers. Yeah, this question is at the inference level. Okay, we have the, I think the social organizer.
Huh? Got 3 people.
You said 3 people?
Yeah.
Okay, but here I think the question you need to write speakers. Speakers, yes. So because I don't know. Okay, but how much did you get here? Khawla and Abdurrahman, report your score.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Only 6. Abdurrahman.
2 wrong.
What?
2 wrong. يعني.
Okay, 8. Right, okay. Now Khawla is 15. You got 15, and Abdurrahman 17. Okay. And then section number 3. Now, pine forests. Did you write it?
Yes.
Okay, good.
But
and then water.
I didn't add pine.
Pin, you write pin.
pine. أنا كتبت لها P. أول شيء كتبت pin بعدين قلت لها هذا pin. رديت كتبت PAIN.
No, not pain. This is pine. Okay.
Okay.
Give yourself a 0 and keep smiling. Okay. No problem.
Okay. Water.
No. Print, then water, then print.
Print بعدين sort.
Sort, remove ink.
Remove ink أيوة.
Yeah, then we have introduction or the introduction, counsel,
أيوة.
data, and then first draft,
First draft, then
and
tutor.
then tutor. Yeah, okay.
Tutor.
Now, okay, how much did you get?
وين راحت؟ وصلنا أي سؤال؟
This is number 30. From 21 to 30.
21 to 30.
Yeah, 21 to 30.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
9. Abdurrahman,
I got 5 only.
you got 5 only. Oh my goodness. Okay. Now Khawla was 15 plus 9. Now this is 24. No, this is 24 for Khawla. Abdurrahman 22 because he got only 5. Okay. So, okay, this is the last section. Last section. Okay, now protection. Did you get it?
Yes, protection, flexible.
Flexible, and
Elephant.
then 2 elephants. And then this is 100,000.
5.
What do you mean by 5?
أنا كتبت 100,000.
Did you write it in digit or in words?
Digit.
Okay, ممتاز. Then products.
لا.
Okay.
36.
Cap.
36 كاب صح.
Okay, oil.
Oil, active.
Active. 39 skin. And blueberries here, or blueberries.
سمعناها بس
Okay,
ما
how
عرفت إنه
much?
صح ولا
How
غلط.
much did you get?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Only 7.
Okay, 7. Abdurrahman.
7 also.
Bye, 7 also. Now I think your score was. We will add the 7. So Khawla was 24.
17.
24 you got, right?
Yeah, yes.
Plus 7, 31. Abdurrahman, so 29. Okay, so I will. We will go to this IELTS band calculator. Okay, just give me some time. Okay, I will share the screen with you. This is IELTS band score calculator. Yeah. Okay, and I'm not sure if you do this. Okay, now this is the listening out of 40. Khawla, how much did you get? You said 27 or 31? You said 31, I guess. So let me check. Khawla 31 and Abdurrahman 29. Okay, so here we will write 31 and we will try to calculate. No, this is band 7 and Abdurrahman 29. Oh my God, that's wrong. No, this is for the reading. Sorry, that was my mistake. So Khawla band 7 and here I will write 29. It is 6.5. Okay. Now this is the first time, guys, you sit for a test. But inshallah, if you engage in meaningful practice, time to practice, okay? So you will try to improve your scores. Khawla, you can achieve 8 easily. So try, because I think you have no problem with spelling mistakes only for the word fine, okay?
Yes.
Most of them are correct. Now that's fine. So you can get up to, if you want to get 7.5, I think 32, maybe you got 33. Yeah, you see 33. So one more correct answer, and you will be band 7.5, which is really cool. Abdurrahman, the same thing, 6.5. So I think 31, 2 more correct answers. Now this can be achieved through what you call practice. But thanks. Thank you very much for attending, guys. And I wish you a good day ahead. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.